graduate Pembroke, I feel like a lot of people once they get out of town, like a lot of people leave the port city once they get older. So, what made you come back and what made you start support the port?
So when I graduated from Pembroke, first of all, I graduated with a degree in mass communications, concentration in broadcasting, and I had a minor in recreation management. And I mean, it was mass communications. Like I wanted to be involved in entertainment, and like I just had all these big dreams that once I graduated, to the top. You know what I'm saying? Like no, nothing in the middle. Just I graduate, I got my degree now. Now I can be Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not the current Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
But I can be Dr. Huxtable. You know what I mean? And so we're just kind of like trial and error. At first, I moved back home to Wilmington. It was terrible. No opportunity here. And I was working at the freaking temp agency. So I'm going literally waking up at like 5 in the morning just to go and sign a list with a bunch of people that, you know what I'm saying, either do really hard drugs or have a lot of like prison time on them and stuff like that. So like this is the only place they have to come, and I'm literally coming here like with a clean background and college degree. Like this is not what I envisioned. You know what I'm saying? I got $50,000 loan I gotta come pay back. This is not gonna cut it. And so I did one of the craziest things that I ever thought I was gonna do, and I called my father. That I didn't really have a relationship with like that, you know what I'm saying? Like I had the typical, that's my boss or whatever type of relationship, but like we weren't cool, he wasn't really in my life like that, like he didn't really do nothing for me really, you know what I'm saying? And he wasn't locked up or nothing like that, he just was just a shitty dad. And but he had just moved to Fayetteville, he had like this wife that like married, like had got this, got a girlfriend or whatever, and wife or whatever, and they had ended up like, she had bread or whatever, she worked for the military. Worked for the government, so she was like, he had a nice house. So I'm like, yo, can I move? Can I, come up there, whatever, get myself on my feet. I was like, blah. Moved up to Fayetteville, and during that time, like my sister, her mom, they lived in D.C. or whatever, and they let me come up there to visit. It's my first time going to D.C. Loved it, you know what I'm saying? Like, so my sister's job actually like happened to be hiring, and like. It had nothing to do with what I went to school for. It wasn't even like in my background. You didn't even have to have a college degree to have the job. But it was paying $25 an hour.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah.
Where do I sign? You know what I mean? Like I'm fresh out of school with these student loans. I'm from Rankin Terrace.
Yeah.
Talking about $25 an hour.
Nobody's making $25 an hour in Wilmington.
I'm gonna teach you how to stunt. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm about to show you 1-on-1 how to stunt. You know what I'm saying? So I went up there, signed. Eventually, like 6 months later, I ended up getting hired or whatever. Moved up there to DC, and just another eye-opening situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, never sleep. I'm like, never bored. You know what I'm saying? It's like, go, and I liked it, I loved it, but eventually I realized like what I was doing at that job was not what I went to school for. Was not really passionate. Like after you get a couple of checks, after you get a couple of dollars, you know what I'm saying, you start it don't feel like it's like, oh, so this is what cool checks look like, and then after a while it's like, this still isn't enough money, I'm not happy. And so you know what I'm saying? It was right around the time that LeBron took his talents down to Miami. I took my talents down to Atlanta. No, I took my talents down to Atlanta. I had a connection down there. Shout out to Daniel Dickey, the Resource Guild. He's from Wilmington, but he's a media marketing mogul. Like he's a beast. He pretty much Mr. Miyagi, me Karate Kid, put me under his wing, and me and him were working a radio show. That's funny. Me and him working a radio show. It actually was on like 1100 a.m. or something like that. And I was a program director for it, so I was in charge of booking the guests with like, it was a popular radio show. We had like Keisha Knight Pulliam. That's Little Rudy from The Cosby Show. We had like Swing Cash, she's the WNBA MVP, and gold medalists, all that good stuff. So we had like really, really cool guests.
Atlanta's probably like a good city for that.
It's a great, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, I was just already just trying to do my own thing. I was just learning about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And just all of that stuff, just black excellence and everything. And so eventually the radio station got bought out.
Mm-hmm.
And turned into like this women's radio network.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh shoot, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? I thought I was going to have to go back to DC.
Yeah.
To go back to my job. I left my job. I never like actually quit. You know, it's kind of like once you win, you win, like the government type thing. So like, I literally still am on the roster, like payroll. Like if I want to go up to work right now, I could.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the report that I had with them before I had left. You know, but that was built of course up like 3 or 4 years. Anyways, fast forward back to Atlanta. When we lose the radio show, Daniel, his company, the Resource Guild, he just pretty much says, well, come and work with me. I like how you work the radio show. Yeah, I see that you can help us with what we had. And so from there, I started working with Damon John from Shark Tank.
That's crazy.
Because one of the Resource Guild clients is MillerCoors. So we help with their Tap Into the Future event where they do live Shark Tanks around the world or around the United States. And so started doing that, and then eventually we got the contract to work with Street Execs, which is the management company for 2 Chainz, Bankroll Fresh, Travis Porter, and Schoolie, and those guys.
That's crazy.
Young Dolph. And so it was like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Like, this 2 Chainz, like, he knows me, like, that's Bankroll, like, he knows me, like, you know what I mean? And so we started doing PR for them and all of that good stuff. If you ever watched the first Young Dolph interview on the Breakfast Club, we booked that interview. We did like the Plug's Best Friend mixtape release party and all that other good stuff. But you know, of course, besides a lot of people know 2 Chainz for his ignorant raps or whatever you want to call it, but he gives back more than your local nonprofit. You know what I'm saying? And like we were helping with that. We were helping with executing that. We were also working with other different clients and other nonprofits and stuff like that within Atlanta. And I was like, yo, all of this dope stuff happening here in Atlanta, but like Atlanta has enough of that. Like they already have enough inspiration. Like they, like every time you walk outside your house, you just see inspiration. Like, but that doesn't exist here in Wilmington. And so I was like, I gotta start trying to do some of these things. So I just like, all right, once a month, I'm going to do an event or an initiative that gives back. And I started Support the Port. We first did the Stop the Violence One Side at a Time campaign. I was still living in Atlanta, traveling back and forth here once a month, and then still trying to make some ends meet by going back and forth to DC from time to time to work. So like, nobody saw that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody saw that late night trip, 12-hour mega bus ride from DC all the way to Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, just so I can make sure that I make it to this next event that we need to go and network at. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even stuff that I'm actually getting paid for. It's like just stuff to make sure that the impact is growing and whatever. And so, I mean, eventually the impact that Support the Port had here, it went from like 0 to 100, and just the demand for my presence was just it was here, bro. I mean, I got a little quiet because I really hate having to say this. I ain't gonna say I hate having to say it. I just don't want to scare anybody away, but like, I really felt like God took over my life. You know what I'm saying? Like this whole time, I had this written out for what I was gonna do with my life. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna do this, and boom, we made it. And it was like,
it's like that law of attraction. You know what I'm saying? Once you like, know what you take control of that first script, right? You know what I'm saying? And then I feel like the world starts to conspire to, get you to where you need to be after that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like, and cause when I first started coming down, it was just to do the Support the Port stuff, whatever. And then when I finally was like in January of this year, when I was finally like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing full time. February, I get the job at Cape Fair. And it's like, and so for people that don't know, I'm the assistant coordinator at the Nixon Minority Male Leadership Center at Cape Fair. And so basically the Nixon Minority Male Leadership Center is it's a center that grew and evolved from a program which was to mentor minority males that was started by Travis Corcoran, and shout out to Travis. and because of the success graduation and transfer rate that he had, they ended up getting more sponsors and grants to where they had now they have a whole facility in Cape Fear, and they have enough money to pay for an assistant part time. Boom, here I go. So now I'm at the community college, helping people from the community get an education. So that goes hand in hand with what I was already doing with support the poor, giving back to the community and stuff like that. And now, so pretty much now it's like I got an office to operate out of. You know what I'm saying? I get paid for it. I hope nobody from the higher ups at Cape Fear sees this, because then maybe he's not gonna be doing none of that work on our clock. Not. You know what I'm saying? But
you're putting the city on your back right now. They gotta respect that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I might need to have you in the office talking for me, and that may come up. But so it was kind of like I came back and I was just like, I'm gonna do that, and then I wanted to do that, and then I went back to originally what I always wanted to do. I started. We do comedy shows. I get to host those shows. I get to do improv whenever I get to do improv. Well, actually, I didn't say this at the beginning of the interview, but like before I graduated with mass communications major or whatever, my first major was theater arts.
Oh, right.
I know this might take me before I blow or whatever, but like, you know, a lot of people usually get out from like this environment, you know what I'm saying, either sports, you know what I'm saying, football, basketball.
Yeah.
Or you get out of school, like your academics, like my academics wasn't that good. Like I was good in sports, but not that good, you know what I'm saying? But like acting, like my theater class, my drama class with Miss Burton, that kept me like intact. Like when I didn't want to go to one of my other classes, I would skip and go to the drama room, you know what I'm saying? Like, and she'd write me a late pass to go to like my next class, like, you know what I mean? Like it was like to hang out. And so anyway, to bring it back full circle, it's like I came back because like I said, I felt like somebody had just took over. Was like, nope, this isn't there anymore. Like my car broke down back in Atlanta. Like the radio station I told you got bought out, and all that stuff. And then 2 Chainz had just dropped Trapper Belly.
Yeah.
And Def Jam took over all of the marketing stuff. So we had just lost the Street X contract.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? And then when I thought I was gonna eventually come back, Bankroll gets killed. You know, and so it's like, dang, I'm gonna stick with this support the poor stuff. And then eventually, like I said, I got the job at Cape Fear doing that. So now I'm getting paid to do community work and I have an office hub to do that. And now I get to do events that take me back to my passion, which is music and arts and theater.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now it's like, oh shoot, you know what I'm saying? We're getting somewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? And now we have our, you know, our virtual city shirts, and you know, we're just trying to evolve every day, and any door that's open with opportunity behind it, I try to bust through it. And I don't care if I'm the first person to bust through it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely trying to make sure I'm not the last.
Yeah. That's so dope. Thanks for telling your whole story.
Thanks for asking me. Nobody really asks me this stuff, like, so I'm really realizing a lot of things right now.
Yeah.
Cause like while you're on go, you just be on go. You know.
Yeah. You're the present.
You know what I'm saying?
Present. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really cool to like hear something like come around full circle like that. You know, like, and like what you talk about, like, I think like Wilmington. You know, one thing I felt like when I went to UNCW, it felt like a bubble, right?
Definitely.
That whole side of town is a bubble in itself, you know, like that close to Wrightsville Beach area, you know what I'm saying? And then you got like this downtown area that's like, it's like a whole different city. And then like it's a different city when you get into the historic district on Front Street, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like we got like several different cities that are kind of divided, and you know, in light of like 1898 and everything, Wilmington kind of has like almost like this like malaise when it comes to arts and stuff like that, and like, you know, that diversity, because we're all separated, you know what I'm saying? So like it's just like it gives me like a lot of hope, you know, to hear about these events that you're putting on, and this, you know, that support the poor's doing so well.
I highly appreciate that, coming from you as a UNCW student. I mean, because a lot of things that I was first doing was for people that weren't students, and people from my community, my hood. You know what I'm saying? Like the projects, like you know what I mean. But I have realized since I've been back that, like you said it actually at the beginning of the interview. You was like when people leave Wilmington and things are going good for them outside of Wilmington, they don't come back.
Yeah.
And so that's really the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because of 1898, they ran out that middle or upper class of community folks here in Wilmington.
Yeah.
Black folks as well.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody really came back to fill that gap in.
Yeah.
And so now you really just have a big mass of people that's really middle to low.
Mm-hmm.
If you're middle, you're kind of looked at as high.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to affiliate yourself with people that are low class because for whatever reasons. And then you got people that may have been black that come to Wilmington but don't even know what's going on. So they're in a whole nother area, so they just don't care. And it's really not a space that has been built where if you're from Wilmington, you left and you came back and you have something to offer. There's opportunity, there's room, there's space.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's things for you to get involved in. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, if I'm back here, I'm gonna have to do something to be involved. You know what I'm saying? I'm having, you know what I mean? Like having these events, and having a following of people in Atlanta and DC and stuff. Like eventually they want to come down and visit me and visit and see what's going on. Want to have something for them to do. You know what I mean? We want to have people for them to network, socialize, and be involved with, like people like yourself, people like him, people like Steve Blanco, and just other friends that are in my circle, like Juice, or you know what I mean, like even somebody like Push. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people don't know Push lived with me at Pembroke for a year while he was on the run. You know what I'm saying? Like the police was never going to catch him in Pembroke. Never would have thought. And then he goes home to visit his mom for the weekend, and then the U.S. Marshals kick his door down. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't see him till 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of things that I do is really just for, like, me. I like doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like giving back. I like music. I like hanging out. I like jokes. I like radio, talk. You know what I mean? Like, it just, Wilmington doesn't offer a lot of that stuff, or if they do, it's I'm not even gonna say polished. You know what I'm saying? Because my stuff is polished too. It's like if you're not in this box, you're not in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you're not in this box, you're weird and you're uncomfortable to be around. You know what I'm saying? The box thing is something that I hate.
Back when I was in my band, the Spicy Boys, this one
that sounds fun.
promoter that we worked with a lot, he used to book a lot of shows at Ziggy's, said that he used to book shows at Greenfield Lake sometimes. He said he couldn't book, the city wouldn't let him book a hip-hop show at Greenfield Lake. You know, like, I feel like you know, after going to UNCW, I wanted to move to the black neighborhood because I feel like when you just are around, like, no diversity at all, you end up being around a lot of squares, and just, like, it gets boring. You know what I'm saying? It's the same perspective all the time, and it makes for less diversity in art and, you know, everything, perspective and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think...
How can you understand what you don't know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who's going to watch this, and you don't have to listen to me. I'm nobody. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I've really been, like, when I would say, like when I get exposed to stuff, I really be trying to analyze and observe. So, like, all right, I'm going to just get into it. Like, white people come from, like, a barbaric, historical, like, background.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Like, take black people out of the equation. White people just probably don't like each other. Like, they're mean to each other. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, like, I see people be mean to each other that love each other. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, they don't know you. You're an outsider. You know what I'm saying? What do you expect? For them just to embrace you? They're not even nice to each other at some moments or whatever, right? And so it's like, okay, cool. But then eventually, you know what I'm saying, you had to get to a point where, all right, we have to understand or realize who these people are, you know? So, like, I'm not against when somebody doesn't understand or, you know what I'm saying? I'm against when somebody is not even open to understanding or open, like we literally did not grow up the same. Like, our mindsets are literally different. And I'm not even talking about race. Like, when I told you when I went to Pembroke, like, I learned that black people acted differently. Like, it's really a shell. Like, it's a lot of people, especially like activists, they'll hate me when I talk about this, but like, we're all human beings. Like, we're all human beings in different shells. For as many quote unquote black people that quote unquote act white, I can also quote unquote say it's white people quote unquote that act black, quote unquote. And it's terrible that we even have to say those words, white act or black act, you know what I'm saying? Because all those things were just labels when it came down to keeping up with population and population control when it comes to the U.S. But that's a whole totally different story.
Yeah.
So I salute you and take my hat off to anybody that comes to an environment and just openly wants to know and understand that they don't know and just like learn why things are the way they are. It doesn't have to be a color thing. It's just because it's really a situational thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this was their situation. You know what I mean? Like, take color away from it. Like, this was their situation. This was their mind frame. This was their mindset. This is why this was like this and this was like that. Once you do that, then it's kind of like it's really easy for me to have a conversation with somebody. I don't care what gender they are, what color they are. I don't care what age you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's differences in that too. You know what I mean? So it's like, but you got to be open and understanding. Like, your way is not every way. You know what I mean? So I definitely tip my hat off to you because it could definitely be the other way around. Like, for the longest, black people really try to fit the criteria of what's right to be white, if that's, or what's white and right or whatever, right? But I was about to say something that sounded like it could be the solution to end racism, but that's definitely not. But that's definitely not it. I'm about to say, but really, it should be. I mean, because like we're the ones being oppressed. We don't run the laws. We're not the decision makers and stuff like that. So we shouldn't be trying to be in line because eventually we're going to have to be ourselves. And then when we be ourselves, it looks like it's weird and not normal or whatever the case may be. But when people that have a privilege because they look like or come from the same place that the oppressor or the people that are above with the oppression try to use their privilege pretty much to expose and show and understand that these people are human beings and they're normal and their situation is fucked up and we should do something about it, and maybe things wouldn't be like they are if we did something about it. And so, as tough as that was for me to say it, I really do appreciate things like that and people like that I can actually have conversations with. It's some people that I really can't even have conversations with. Yeah. And they're in Wilmington. A lot of them.
I feel that, man. I don't really know much about fishing or anything like that, so.
That's real. I don't know a lot about fishing either, actually. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
That's cool though. Like, I don't know if you're gonna say something, but go down another rabbit hole here. But we were last night. The Nixon Minority Merit Leaders had a film screening of this film called YOLO. You Only Live Once, and it profiled these women in Philly that had lost their sons to gun violence. And I talked to the filmmaker. It's a work in progress, I think.
Right, yeah.
I talked to the filmmaker afterward because I grew up like 15 minutes from Philly. I could see the skyline from my house. Yeah.
Y'all took an L today, man.
Yeah, man. R.I.P. for real.
My boy still lives, you heard?
Yeah, but he definitely took an L today though. But to get back to what you
Yeah. I'll have to look that up after the interview. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? So I could see the city from my house, you know, and my uncle was a child and family services worker, so he took me around to meet his clients every Thanksgiving. But you know, like those people that died, it was always just a number on the news in the 300s, you know, or they'd say, oh, it's down 50 homicides this year or whatever, you know. And the news only ever talked about fighting crime, you know what I'm saying? And homicides were just a number on the news. And for me to hear, like, individual people's stories, you know, yesterday, like, that was so powerful because here I was in my suburb, safe, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have to confront those problems, you know what I'm saying? So, like you were saying about, you know, like coming from an area, you know, with my white skin and, you know, an area where, you know, white people have a history of being the oppressor. It's like I think like yesterday, you know what I'm saying? I think like it was good to just like shut up and listen, you know what I'm saying?
It's always a good. That's always good. I mean, even like I don't. I mean, I feel like some of the most powerful people don't say anything, but when they do speak, everybody listens. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing. It's power in listening. Actually, the best sellers, like the best like sellers and entrepreneurs, are people that listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're finding their room of opportunity where to sell you at or whatever. But like. Yeah, like I told you, that's kind of like me and like how I watched my friend. Like I didn't say a lot, but I observed and I watched and I analyzed. You know what I mean? And I critiqued and I questioned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people don't even question. A lot of people just assume and just stereotype. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you just talk to people, you'll see that everybody isn't one dimensional. You know what I mean, or whatever. And so. Even with that Works in Progress, You Only Live Once documentary, I mean, I was kind of quiet too as well. That's my water, but that's cool. Or is that my water over there?
I think that was yours over there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was
yours.
Okay, cool. Because I was looking at that cup like it's mine though. You know what I'm saying?
They're the same exact cup.
Actually,
you know what I'm saying?
That is my cup.
It is? Oh.
Because I brought it over here to sit down for the show. But it's cool because we can do that. We can share. We're human beings. And
You want some?
yeah, nah, I don't. But
it's flu season right now. You know
right,
and
I don't take flu shots, so you know what I'm saying.
I got cups for days in there. You know what I'm saying? That's like.
Nah, actually, shout out to Waterline Brewing though. I love that brewing company. Actually, they do pop up shops from time to time, and I go out there and sell my shirts. And they got some really cool food trucks from time to time. But yeah, like with that film, it's a very, very sensitive subject. From what I've been learning since I started to Stop the Violence one Sign Out of Town campaign, when you start to try to unravel or try to make sense of like gun violence and crimes like that, it can get really tough because you may say something about the shooter that the family doesn't agree with, you know, or you may say something about the victim that got shot that the family doesn't agree with, like they shouldn't have been in this situation, they shouldn't have been in this place, they shouldn't have been doing that, or you know they shouldn't have got involved with this or got involved with that. And so it's tough to try to highlight something like that or try to do a film on it without like having at least an idea of what you may think could be a solution. You know, it was weird for me to hear him say he's not sure how he's going to do it until it's time for him to edit. Like, you know, like that's something to me like this is about to be a very difficult film. How are you about to go and record what you don't even know what you're going to even edit yet? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. So yeah, but and it's a lot of emotion. I would like to see facts. I would like to see how many people killed during this time and during this time, da 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 da. You know what I mean? Not so much of how the family feels.
Yeah.
Because how the family feel may not be real. It may be real as far as emotions, but it may not be real as far as the scenario or the situation that took place. You know what I mean? It may be very biased.
Yeah.
And I was scared to watch that and get a biased opinion, or just watching a movie and then when I'm done, oh my gosh, you ever seen Moonlight? Is that the movie?
I don't know.
Have you seen Moonlight? Oh man, so Moonlight is that movie. It's about like this black dude that has like he's like undecided about his sexuality or something like that. Have you guys ever seen Fruitvale Station?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
You ever seen Fruitvale Station? Oh my gosh, I'm putting you on all the movies right now.
Yeah,
but anyways, so it's hard to use Fruitvale Station. I would have rather use Moonlight because I hated Moonlight. But I use it with Fruitvale Station. So Fruitvale Station was a good movie. That's why I said it's hard to use Fruitvale Station, because Fruitvale Station was a really good movie. But at the end of the movie, tell me you were not sad.
I mean, yeah.
Like, no, tell me like when the movie got sad, it stayed sad.
Yeah, it went off sad.
Of the movie, and when the movie was over with,
I want to watch this.
Exactly. Like when I got done, it was like, I can't watch that again. Like, I'm not about to watch that. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I felt when I was watching the documentary. It's like, if it's going to be all emotion, I'm not trying to be that sad once it's over with. You know what I mean? Like, just to sit there, like,
just to get sad.
Just to get sad, like.
Get some hope.
Right, yeah, like some hope or something, but like, nah, like. So I hate to use Fruitvale Station, because Fruitvale Station, like, I would actually watch that movie again. It's a good movie. But as far as the example of watching a movie and, like, and it just stays sad. Like, you know, like usually like movies have like, okay, you get into it. Okay, here's the problem. They solve the problem. Movie over. It's like Fruitvale Station. Oh, okay, it's going on. Here's the problem. It's a bigger problem. It's a bigger problem. The end. I was like, what? Like,
you're not gonna solve it.
Right. Like, there's no moral of the story. Like, nah.
Pictures. Daughters, family.
Yeah, like it's like
whatever.
Like, oh, now the ending is letting us know that this is a true story.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No happy ending, and I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not what.
Like trick or treat, and you went through the whole neighborhood or whatever, and then at the end you just got a bag of rocks.
That's it.
No.
That's
candy.
it. No candy, nothing at all. Like nothing. So.
That's
That's so
fucked up.
Terrence, director of You Only Live Once, that's a great topic to do a documentary on, but please leave us something at the end to take home. That's all I ask.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's why I think that's why I really like Wilmington on Fire though, because at the end it goes off with a note that's just like, all right, this is where it was, but
this is where it could be. Yeah, if we get there, exactly. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, and that's what a lot of stuff is missing. So. Yeah.
And that's funny, because I feel like some of those things that it's saying is happening right now. You know what I'm saying? It's a big culture shift in Wilmington right now taking place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a lot of people starting their own businesses. A lot of people getting out there and, you know what I'm saying, really not just taking whatever the city gives them. You know what I mean? Like, it's people challenging the status quo. And so it's really good. It's really cool to see. And it's really cool to see what comes from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we got to keep challenging it. You know? That like power structure keeps trying to, contain everybody and control everything, but we need to, make it.
Yeah, but thinking about that though, because I heard you was talking about from the past and things of that nature with the events that they had going on at town hall and things of that nature. Was that like a community event put on? Like, was it an organization put on? And then parallel to that, like, as far as UNCW, was UNCW ever a part of your community, like, experience? And if not, like, how do you feel you can, like, or how do you feel they can? And Zach, from your experience, also, do you feel like they could have, or if they did?
So, I definitely feel like, it used to be organizations, like whenever there was something going on at the Boys and Girls Club would do it. Or it might be, it was the DJs usually that would book the venues. You know what I'm saying? This was just the DJs hustle. It would DJ Slide or whatever, Big A, the bomb squad. They would rent these locations, and they would just make money off of kids, give us something to do on the weekends or whatever, and just I really honestly think it was just about money. I don't think it was about money, and it maybe also might have been about giving the kids to do something and while also making money. But I know they didn't know that all of this was going to come from that, and they really didn't know how to control us. Or you know what I mean? It really like, and they knew us. They knew we weren't bad kids. Just used to just do mischievous stuff. So yeah, but UCW was never a part of my was never part of my community growing up at all. But one of the things that I really try to do now is put emphasis on making an outlet for UNCW students to be involved in the community with support the poor. A lot of people at UNCW really, for one, they're not going to leave College Road and come to you for first and foremost. So the first step that I did, because I know how impactful a college campus can be, because I dwelled in one for 5 years. I went to UNCW and like we had this organization. I know that there's people at this school that are from hoods like mine from other cities, and they're and they want to know what's going on. Like it's people in Wilmington that would love to know what's going on at college and be about like let's just be 3 men right now, right? Of course, we want to go and see what the college girls are looking like. You know what I'm saying?
UNCW's like 75.
Yeah.
That's why I went there.
Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. And then they're like beach girls. So, all of their bodies is hot. You know what I'm saying? And then...
You tell the truth.
Yeah, and then when you have girls at the school that they don't want to be with the student guy all the time. They want to be with the local jokers, you know what I'm saying? And see what the city's really about. Maybe get into some trouble, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so I already knew that it's people that already knew that existed.
Yeah.
So I went to UNCW to see like who are the people that want to see what the community is about and everything like that, but maybe scared because the only time you hear about the community is what you may see on the news. I don't think the news put on the news about what happens in the community is negative. So I went out there and I got involved, and like we have interns, we have volunteers that come into our events all the time, help us with helping the homeless. One of our main, our host band during Soul Session Sundays are some UNCW students. You know what I mean? And so like we have that connection now. Like it's like it's cool to hear students like talk about people that usually only people in the community would know about, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And it's gonna be cool to see where these students go once they graduate, because like what people realize, like they're students, they're young, and they're like at UNCW, so when they graduate, they're gonna go do something great. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so right now we're planting seeds. Yeah, you know what I mean? That 10 years from now, they might be like, I mean, when I first got started, or I first went to a support the poor event, and da 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 da. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I think it's gonna be some cool stuff that definitely comes from that. And yeah, that's a good question. It's very important for the college to be connected. I feel like if Wilmington had a HBCU, the black community would be different. Would be very different. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's funny. That's something you and your man talked about before.
I mean, it's just interesting.
Like,
it's an interesting concept that I've never even thought about.
Like, think of what
something good to think about.
Like, think about because like I told you, I observe and I analyze and I question.
Nah, Wilmington should pay for it too.
Yeah, so all right. So let's talk history and let's talk facts.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So North Carolina,
it's a real dialogue.
Right.
That's all we do here.
And so that's how I'm learning. So that's one of the things that helped me realize how racist Wilmington was. Right. Mm-hmm. So of course, 1898 started the whole white supremacy movement through the political arena in North Carolina. Right. All right. Cool. North Carolina is home of the most HBCUs.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It's like seven. So first off, North Carolina is has like the most schools in general. Mm-hmm. Now it's like 17 or 18 schools, college universities. Okay. 9 or 10 of those are HBCUs. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You got St. Aug, you got Shaw University, you got A&T, you got North Carolina Central, you got Livingstone, you got Fayetteville State, you know, like you got Johnson C. Smith. Like you have, that's 7 schools I just named off the top of my head in North Carolina. None of these schools exist in Wilmington, but Wilmington was one of the first places to even exist in North Carolina, and it was the highest population at one point in time, and the first all-black accredited high school was right here. Williston. When Williston was built and made, it was the only black high school in North Carolina. Like the only all-black high school in North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? So why wasn't it an HBCU here? You know what I mean? And that would have kept a young professional crowd and conscious people and people to open up the minds of people that wouldn't have been exposed to those things that come with that. And so, yeah, man, that's funny. Yeah. So we're definitely